Hello, hello. How's it going? Hey, happy Monday. Ba-da-da. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. Oh, Monday again. Where did that go? Oh, we'll just give it a minute for a few people to join. We can just chat absolute nonsense. How's everyone been doing? Anyone had any crazy things happen at the weekend? Anything exciting? Hey, Moosh. Christopher Bigelow. Hello. How's life in the US? I'd love to be able to go back again at some point this year. We've got friends in Louisiana. Flipping love it there. Oh. Only problem is the food is so damn good that I have to like lose a stone in weight before I go out so I can then put it back on again. Hey, Faith. Just a website. Washington, D.C. Hello. Hey, Andrea. It's cold here. Yeah, it's pretty, as we say in the UK, it's pretty nippy here as well. Bit nippy. What website is it? Is it your website, Moosh, or is it somebody else? Like a client or something? Come to New Jersey for pizza. New Jersey. That's I'm gonna embarrass myself. Is that like near New York, like East Coast kind of area? I'm learning my US geography. I'm getting there. Oh, I love a pizza. We do have actually quite a lot of stuff going on this year, travel wise. Um, but we're going to South Korea in early April. So if anyone does live in South Korea in Seoul area, that's where we're going to be going. And you're about, come say hi. We'll be about in. I don't ask me where. We're in the Yongjiang district or something. I got no idea. But it was Poppy's birthday from not the year just gone, but the year before. So we've waited till the kind of the cherry blossom season. It's like 3 weeks every year where all the cherry blossoms do their blossoming and look beautiful, and it's going to be yeah, insane. She's pretty excited. I've got some behind the scenes videos that I took of her and her excitement. It was maybe I'll upload them when she's not looking. Very funny. Website for a client. Okay, cool. I think you said before that you wanted to do something with your site, or I might have just imagined that. Brits, Brits, Josh and Jace. That's a tongue twister. Brits, Josh and Jace in the good old mitten this week. Mitten. What's a mitten? Is a glove you put on a child. Sorry, is that another word for? You've got some British friends staying with you, or you've put Josh and Jace into a pair of mittens. Michigan. Obviously, I was going to assume it was something stupid. Or you've got a pair of mittens that you've called Josh and Jace. I don't know. It could be anything. Yeah, it's going to be cool, Moosh. It's going to be cool. Oh, right. It is that sort of area. Okay, cool. I'm learning. I'm learning. Oh, okay. Content creators that talk about winter in the Midwest. Did you get snow? I'm secretly wishing for snow, but we don't really get it here. If we go up into Wales, you get snow a lot more. A couple hours north, but Poppy doesn't like it. I refuse to accept she doesn't like snow. If it snowed out there right now and we were all outside building a snowman, I refuse to accept that she would not be having fun. Yes, I would probably throw snowballs at her and get in a lot of trouble. But I mean, I'd have fun. Yeah, you've got to name your mittens. Name them Josh and Jace. And then you can go on one of their videos and comment and say, "Ha! I named a pair of mittens after you," and they'll be like, "Oh wow, you're a weirdo." Just don't give any context at all. Can I get a shout out? No, absolutely not. 500 euros for a shout out. Oh yeah, I want to see. I want to see. I've got no idea what Michigan or Michigan weather or anything mitten related is like. I learned a new thing about Michigan today. Y'all sometimes call it mitten. I don't like snow. See, maybe it's just my childish brain. When someone says I don't like snow, it just makes me want to throw a snowball at them. I'm good, thank you. I'm very well. You are number one. You have to, Moosh. Oh, yeah, no, I'm joking. I'm not going to charge for a shout out. Did I say 500? I meant 500,000 per shout out. Anyway, that's enough rambling about Mitten, Snow, and Josh and Jace. Let's get into some design working things. Right. So, design review. You lovely badgers have submitted some work. I saw a badger the other day. I got quite excited. I took a video following it, trying to talk to it like, hello, come on here. And it just ran away. It was clearly scared of me, probably because I'm ginger. Right, so we've got some work. It's kind of mixed. So there's a bit of logo design, graphic design, that sort of thing. If you would like to submit your work or your Behance or whatever for a chance to have it reviewed live or in a video, there is a link in the stream description to do so. And first of all, we're going to open up this little beauty in Adobe Illustrator. How do I submit? Link in the description. So if you go into the stream description, actually, I will do you a solid and I will post it. I will pin it actually to the top of the chat. Okay. Shut up. It was an advert. Right. Let me grab la description. Yeah, it's the bottom one in the description, but because I'm a diamond, I'm going to post it for you. Pin message. There we go. So what I'm going to be doing more of this year is getting back into more of a regular thing of doing design review, but I'm also going to be trying to record content, so pre-recorded videos as well, because I think there's a lot of value in reviewing work and, you know, demonstrating techniques and things, but not everyone wants to sit through and watch a 2-hour stream. Definitely not listening to me waffle on for 2 hours. But, you know, 15 minutes sometimes can be enough for anyone. So we're going to just try and do that. And I think it's good as well, because when you have real work and real people and real projects, you're not using like abstract examples. You're actually kind of getting stuck in with real stuff. So for this first one, we have a logo design. Now, I don't really have any context for this. I mean, they might have submitted some context, but I haven't actually checked. Probably should have checked. Never mind. But we have an infinity symbol and a crown. And rather than kind of dig into trying to improve the design or anything like that, I just want to take what they've done and effectively recreate it with a few tweaks. So regardless of what the brief is for this, we're just going to have a look at what we got. And I'm just going to show you how to create this from scratch in a really clean way using the right tools and techniques, so it all looks super professional. So first of all, if we just dig into it, so you can see in outline mode, Command or Control Y, we have a problem. It's being created by the looks of it using the wrong tools and techniques, the wrong processes, and it's kind of become a little bit of a bodge job, you know, just trying to botch things together. The problem with this is we have things that don't really line up consistently. It's a little bit messy, and even angles and things aren't going to be consistent. So if I were to create a wrangle, let's create a wrangle, also known as a rectangle, and kind of, I'll line this up on the right hand side, unless my eyes deceive me. There we go. That's pretty on point, right? If I move this over, oh no, okay. Yeah, that is pretty consistent. I thought it was going to be something like this. So there's obviously a little bit of optical trickery there. So it's not totally misaligned, which is good. And the gap between the two sides does look consistent as well. But the whole process with this bit is very messy. And then up here we have a raster graphic. Now, I don't want to say never, because never is very definitive, but you should never include a raster graphic, at least in this way, as part of a logo design. because obviously, you know, it's going to pixelate, so you can't scale this to any size. It's going to cause all sorts of problems, and you're going to get a color mismatch here, not just on screen, but when you print as well. You can clearly see we have one color here, this sort of purpley color, very clean vector, which is lovely. And then it pixelates, so we've got a slightly different shade, and it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, and it could look much, much cleaner. So what we're going to do is recreate the infinity shape, and then we're going to recreate the crown. We're going to finish everything up and get it looking beautiful. So first of all, we'll keep this one here, and we'll just pop it up there as a reference. So we're going to grab 2 circles, and we'll click and drag holding shift to make these, and we'll swap the fill to a stroke, and let's thicken it up. So we'll thicken it up to the desired weight. And another thing that they did with this as well is, at least this version has a solid fill, which does make things a lot harder to edit. Whereas here we have a stroke, so we can kind of change those stroke related properties. It just makes everything much easier. So we'll duplicate this by dragging with Alt or Option and Shift until it snaps. So you should have something that looks like this. And then what I'm going to do is, depending on the kind of shape you want for your infinity symbol, you could stretch it out or you could have it quite close together. I'm going to try and match what they've done. So we'll pull them apart a little bit, and then we're going to connect with a line going like this. So I think maybe a little bit wider, tiny bit. Yeah, there we go. And then we're going to grab the pen tool with P on the keyboard. And we'll hover along this line here. Now, if you've not got your smart guides turned on, I would wholeheartedly recommend it. Where's it gone? There we go. It's down there. Command or Control U. So you can hover along this line now, or just switch into outline mode again, which does make it a lot easier. And we want to find a point around about here where we can click this and connect these 2 paths. You can see there it marks it as a tangent, which is helpful. And you can see I actually got that a bit off then, a bit off there. So with the direct selection tool, we're just going to zoom in, grab this anchor point, and then position it. And there you go, it marks it with a tangent as well. So I don't know if Illustrator used to do that, but now it does, which is very, very helpful. That is a very nice addition. And so we know that this is perfectly positioned. Now, we don't want to do that again manually, because doing it manually when we've got something we've already done is a great way to increase the chance of inconsistencies. So what we're going to do is press Command or Control C to copy, Command or Control F to paste, and it will keep the position. And then we'll just flip this horizontally. Great, that didn't work. So another way we can still save this situation is we can hold Shift to select the original shape. And then we're going to click again, and you'll see it becomes highlighted. This is a nifty shortcut to select the key object. So now if we adjust the alignment and center it, it's only going to move anything that is not the key object. So that will stay in place. And it didn't work out as well as I'd hoped, actually. Never mind. We might have to manually just move this into position. That's a shame. Oh, that's a damn shame, actually. I was kind of hoping it would flip on the spot. Let's go back a step, actually, and see if there is a way to do that. O for the reflect tool. Find the center. Hold Alt or Option and click. Copy it vertically. No, it's still giving that result. Okay, that's fine. Let's select both. We will group them. So both the lines are grouped, both the circles are grouped. Select everything and try centering it. That's not ideal because it does throw all of it off then. Hang on. Right, so the top and the bottom are slightly different. This is cutting in and the top is coming out. So I wonder if they're just not vertically aligned. That might be the problem. So let's try selecting them again. There we go. Slight shift there. And then let's bring that across. Oh, we've got duplicate geometry there. Like that. And we'll bring this across as well. Just check they are vertically centered still. Copy, paste in place. See, that's weird that it flips it, but it does it there. I've never had that before. What if we change the registration? Let's change it up here to the center. I think that might be it, actually. There we go. Perfect. So that's usually the way to do it. If you come up against a problem, you just move on to the next tool or technique that you know. And after just going around it, it was the registration point. It wasn't set to the center. I've set it to the left for some other project or something, and it caused all sorts of problems. So there we go. We got there in the end. But now this is looking super clean. And we should hopefully be able to select everything and then grab the shape builder tool. Hold Alt or Option and click. It's a bit tricky with a pen display, but... Ah, right, another problem. And this is probably the most common problem with the shape builder tool. So we're going to grab all of this, and it's because there's like a tiny, tiny microscopic gap. You see that tiny gap? This is why the shape builder tool doesn't work. So if you're using that tool and it ain't working, this is why. So we're just going to drag this so it snaps. Now, there is a little bit of overlap here, which isn't always ideal, but you can see it's so small that it's not going to be an issue, hopefully. And once we clean up our geometry and everything, it will be looking lovely anyway. So we're just going to make sure it definitely does line up. And if we go back out, Shift M for the shape builder tool. There we go. So you want to make sure that the gaps are gone, that everything closes up, and then you should be able to hold Alt or Option and click to select that individual path. That is the biggest problem I have with the shape builder tool. If you really have snapped everything and it's still not selecting an individual segment, what I would do is actually drag it, the anchor point, over the path so it clearly goes over, and it should then become selectable and you can trim it off and clean up the geometry after. Right, now what we've done is we've created this perfect infinity symbol, and we can then adjust the weight. So I think I might go for something a little bit, tiny bit chunkier. Not too much though. And now we need to make the cuts here as well. So we're going to use the direct selection tool to select this piece. We're not going to create new pieces because again, we have to adjust angles and that's going to make things more inconsistent. So we're going to reuse geometry at the correct angle where we can. Command or Control C and F. That's like a nifty shortcut to duplicate. So now I've just got this piece and I'm going to make it white. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to make it red just so I can get it in position first, and then I will change it to white after. So you can see here by doing this, the angle is automatically going to be perfect. And it's not the cleanest solution, but we're going to eyeball this, but we are going to eyeball it at a very, very, very high zoom. So something like this. Now the problem is I can't actually select the stroke to move it now. So what I'm going to do is adjust the X position up here. I'm going to try at least and see if I can move it. Yeah. So we're going to have to move it by some very, 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 very small increments to nudge it a little bit closer. There are other ways around this as well, but this is probably one that I find the easiest. And remember, we are working at like a stupidly high magnification, like 13,000 here. So you don't have to, don't dig into this level of detail when you're concepting and coming up with ideas. This is more like the stuff that you do when you're doing the final version and you want it to be as pristine and perfect as possible. Okay, we'll do the same thing over here. So we're going to hold Command or Control and click in the X box and go down. X box. Right, that's clearly too low. So let's go up to 7. We'll try 0.8. We're going to get there. 9.5? Nope. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's in between that. So 111.95. 99. 985. And I'm being very particular here. Admittedly, this is probably some of the most particular I've been. But I mean, at least to me, these details matter. So if I have to zoom in to 50 billion% and just tidy up a few things, like it's always going to be worth it. Right, I think that is spot on, hopefully. And then now we've done that, we can change them both to white. So what we can do is click and hold shift to bring up the color picker. This won't sample any kind of styles or anything from the selected object, but it will just sample the color. So there we go. We've now made the infinity symbol and it's absolutely perfect. So I'll keep a copy of that down, or we'll go and chuck it down here just in case I muck it up. Obviously you can see we have white there. That's a problem. We're going to fix that now. So let's expand everything. This will convert the strokes into shapes with a fill. That's fine doing that at the end. I would just keep everything in editable stroke if you do need the flexibility to change the width. So if you're still not sold on the width of everything, keep it as an editable thing, but just keeping a copy is a really good way to do that. So now what we can do is we've got these blocks. As you can see, it looks very messy, just like the above example, but that's because we haven't done any cleanup yet. So first of all, what we're going to do is select the 2 white pieces, and I'm going to cut these with Command or Control X. This will copy them, but also cut them and get rid of them at the same time. We can then select all of these random pieces of shape. They look messy, but we know that they're precise. And then from the Pathfinder panel, we just click this option and it unites them and it combines them into a single shape. You can use the shape builder tool as well, but from many use cases, I find that if you can use the Pathfinder option, as you can see, it's one click and it's done, but it also creates cleaner geometry, whereas the Pathfinder tool can sometimes create less ideal geometry and anchor points. Right, now what we're going to do is press Command or Control F, and it's going to paste those white bits in the same place and in front of everything. And we want to knock both of them out at the same time out of the shape behind. So at the minute we've got the purple infinity symbol, a bit more like lilac or lavender if you want to get particular. But we've got 2 white shapes and we need Illustrator to treat these shapes as one white shape. So we'll select both the white shapes, go to Object, Compound Path, and Make. So now they are effectively being treated as one single path. So if I then select everything, we've got the 2 white shapes that are technically one shape on top. We have the purple, lilac, lavender infinity symbol underneath. And if I select Subtract from the Pathfinder panel, it should just knock out both of them from the bottom. And then we literally have one shape left, and it should have a fill color here. So if you have a question mark, it means there's multiple shapes selected and they have different fills. So because we've got one shape and one fill color, we know we've done it right. That's the hard part. The easy part is the crown because it's symmetrical. Super simple. So again, there's 1,000 different ways to create a crown. What's the best way to do it, Dan? Good question. I think we could pen tool it, but I'm going to use the rectangle tool. And we're going to get rid of this top right anchor point here, which leaves us with a triangle. And we're going to copy and paste in place again, flip it horizontally. Is this going to work, Dan? I hope so. So we've got this shape here. Let's make them different colors just so I don't get confused. It's easily done. And then what we're going to do is rather than just Oh, actually, no, that works fine. Yeah, we can scale it up like that. That works. As long as this kind of bit in the bottom left corner stays looking lovely. That's pretty good. And so this kind of middle one, probably not that high, but is a bit higher. And the great thing about this here is we can then go and grab the ellipse tool. We can snap to that exact point and then click and drag to create a circle, and then hold Alt or Option and it will create it from the center. So we know it's perfectly in position, and then hold Shift and it will snap it to a circle. So Alt, Option and Shift. And there we go. We've got our little bobbly bit on the crown, and we can just eyedropper tool that same color. And we can see from the geometry as well, like it's perfectly in position and it hits the center of the circle. So it's a nice little detail. You don't want anything like this where we're just manually positioning it. Let's sample the same color there. If you wanted a slightly narrower crown, you could squish it in like this. Yeah, we don't want to move it too much. And then let's duplicate this over as well. You can see the smart guides help line it up. And then we should be able to select everything. Now we're not going to copy and paste, because if we copy, paste and flip, we then have to manually move it out and line it up. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to hit this in one go, select everything, O for the reflect tool, and then hover over this bottom right point here. This line is going to be like our reflecting line. Then we're going to hold Alt or Option and click. And if you hold down Alt or Option, it brings up this window. And this is perfect because we can reflect it vertically along that line and then reflect a copy of it like this. And there we go. So we have everything perfectly symmetrical now. We don't need to muck anything around. We do just have to move this and get rid of the duplicate in the middle. And then just line this up. So I don't really want it right on top there. I'm just going to come in a little bit like that. And these ones. Okay, this is going to be... Okay. Ooh, we've got a little bit of a pickle. So you can see I don't have all the geometry here. So what we're going to do is just hold Shift and use the up arrow key to just nudge the little bobbles out the way. And if we go in here, I'm just going to use Shift and the arrow keys to separate them into pieces. Now there's something I should have done at the beginning that I missed, which is good, sort of, because I can show you now, or maybe I'm just coping. Right, let's select that and move this out. Why are you not moving? There you go. And that's because these aren't closed paths, they're open. So when I deleted that first point at the beginning, I didn't go back and select these 2 points and then press Command or Control J to close them. So I don't have that line to use as a reference to adjust the position of the circle on the top. So what I'm going to do is just close all of these up by selecting those end points, Command or Control J to close them. And then because we used Shift and the arrow keys, we can now just nudge these back into exactly the same position. So that's what I do. If I've got a design that's very complex and I need to edit something, but it's kind of a bit messy and hard to do, just hold Shift, use the arrow keys, separate it, nudge the bits apart, and then, oops, sorry, microphone, and hold Shift and then just nudge them back. There we go. And they end up pretty much back in the same position. Well, they do, exactly the same position. Right, now I think on either side they kind of taper in as well a bit. So I'm going to select both of these points and then both of these points holding Shift. We should be able to press S for the scale tool and I can scale in. Now just be careful, because if you do this freehand, this tool... Oh no, it's... Oh, have you had an update scale tool? Sometimes it can be a little bit wild and pernickety, but it's not. Okay, nice. I like that. I don't know if that's changed behind the scenes, but that is a welcome change. So we'll bring those in to kind of match the slight angle there. But then the middle one, this feels too big compared to the others. So how do we adjust that? Let's move you out And then we'll move this half out as well. Select these 2 points. And again, I'm going to use shift and the arrow keys. And we'll just do one to the left and one to the right. So now I should, again, because I'm still using shift and the arrow keys, be able to nudge them about. And I've just kind of squished it in a bit, but we're using the arrow keys and arrow key press. Sorry, I can't speak. We're using shift and the arrow key presses rather than me doing it by eyeballing it. Just because then I know that both halves are still symmetrical, and it makes sense if you've gone to this level of detail to make sure it's perfectly symmetrical, and then you start freehand moving things around, you're going to kind of undo that. Now these ones on either side as well, what I could do if I wanted to move this up is I could draw a line that matches that exact angle, and now the circle, I can move it along that line. Not like this, where it goes off, but you see here, the center point of the circle. Just make sure that that is hugging the line. But I think what I actually will do is probably, because the left and right look pretty good, I'm just going to move this one down. So the kind of, let's call it the neck between the crown and the bobble on top is consistent between all of them. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then maybe we could even select all of these on both sides, scale tool, and then adjust it like this. Ah, there we go. You see, sometimes it goes a little bit twitchy sometimes. So just be super careful. I find that adjusting the zoom range does help. So selecting the anchor points on the left and the right and using the scale tool, that's a really good way to not do that, but scale something and keep that symmetricalness that you've put your heart and soul into creating. And I've actually mucked that up there. So try not to muck it up. And then we could clean up the geometry here. Again, I'm going to keep an editable copy of this crown. We unite everything together, so it just goes from that to that, nice and clean. And then we could do the same here as well. So the whole thing is just one shape, super clean. And then we can go and position this on here. So you could just, what sort of angle do we want to go for? Slightly different from their design. They've kind of got the bobbles a bit higher, but that is entirely up to you. Yeah, there we go. Just so it's sort of resting on the top. Could even bring it down a bit more. Or make it a little bit bigger, actually. Make it a bit more of a feature. Right, there we go. Let's chuck you out the way. Go on, get over there. Be gone with you. And then what I would do before even sending it off, obviously keep everything editable where you can. But once you've got the finished logo, if it's one solid color like that, just combine it. Because then when you send this to a client who might send it to a printer or a web designer or whoever in future, there's no chance that they'll open your file and the colors will go weird or the geometry will change or they muck something up. You're just supplying them with a complete finalized file with clean geometry, and it just causes less problems and headaches for you as well. I've had logos when I've worked on projects before where it's been created by somebody else. I've got to use it. I open it up and I'm like, oh, and I've got to fix the logo before I can even properly use it. Just because it ain't up to scratch or they've done something wrong. So for all the clients and other designers out there who might have to use your work at some point, keep it clean. And something else I just noticed here as well, I don't think, whether this is intentional or not, these aren't really perfect circles. They don't have to be necessarily, but I've just wanted to point that out. I've gone with a perfect circle for this particular version. And there we go. We've got everything now. Vector, scalable to any size, not going to cause any problems, and it's all super clean. This problem ended up being an example of working through things, a real tutorial. Exactly, yeah. I think And I've done this as well. When I do tutorials, sometimes you want everything to go right when you're recording, and you don't want things to go wrong. And this is what I've heard from a lot of people as well, is that actually when things go wrong, that is where the secret sauce is, because you get to see how someone would actually deal with the problems that everyone has. And the shapeboarder tool can be so tricky if you don't know how to use it and get around the little quirks. So, oh, you sent me some. Oh, nice. They don't put their shorts on YouTube. Oh, really? Oh, interesting. They're on Facebook. How bizarre. Oh, no, I'll give those a watch later. Hey, Kea. Yes, we have a stream. I'm going to try and get back to Monday, Wednesday if I can. The Mondays are the easiest one. It's just as the week goes on, sometimes things move around, but usually Monday. Monday is always pretty consistent every week. It's like I do Muay Thai in the morning and then it's the stream. So I think streaming every Monday will be pretty straightforward. Right. Bum, bum, bum. I'm trying to record this as well. So we'll go 1. There we go. Ah, you don't like rain? I love me some rain. Right. Next up, we have do do do. Okay, we've got 2 different versions. Oh, we don't need that. That's just a flattened version. Okay. We have 2 different versions of a Christmas poster. Now, there's a few things that I would say are wrong with this. The first and most obvious being that it looks more like a Halloween graphic. So I don't know if this was created from scratch or was there like a template that was changed or something, but yeah, the colors and even the bats in the background look much more Halloween than Christmas. Yeah, so like if I were to, let's just go and type in Christmas poster. Yeah, something like this. With Christmas, there's like a very clear sort of visual identity. Obviously, red is very commonly used. You get a lot of white. There's quite a lot of blue in this as well. Hey, Kai looks like he's having a great time, doesn't he? Oh, no insurance. Green is very commonly used. So white, green, a bit of light blue, red, gold as well. So even just kind of scrolling down this list, you've got a very clear sort of palette. No one's using orange or purple. I mean, you could maybe use purple. Maybe there's a purple one somewhere. I don't know. I love this one. Santa 70% off. That's because it's never going to arrive because Santa crashed into a chimney. Rest in peace, Santa. So you can clearly see that there is like a palette that is commonly used. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't break conformity. By all means, go ahead. But I think with the bats as well and the yellow moon, we're clearly working with like a more Halloween palette. Now, lorem ipsum, if you're going to do like a poster design, even if it's just for yourself or for fun, add real content. Never just put lorem ipsum in unless there's a specific reason why. Just make this feel as real as possible. So at the moment, for me, this looks like a poster design. I'm guessing it's a project someone's done for themselves and it's celebrating Christmas. I'm not sure why Christmas begins at 9 p.m. and Christmas is open all night long. But I would make it a Christmas poster for a specific thing. So it could even be like a local business where you live, they're having a Christmas party. Add in the name of a business or even a fictional business, add a start time, add in some real content and just make it feel real, because even if you have like practice projects or projects for fun in your portfolio, you can still make them look like they were done for a real client. And a lot of people that see your work, they're not going to know. They might not even care. You know, they might just be looking at the work you do and your style and the quality, and whether it's a real project or not, it doesn't really matter. So I would always just kind of add in real content and make it feel like a real project for a real business if you can. The Slayer's backwards. I did wonder that, Paul. I did wonder that. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not entirely sure how this was created. I mean, it's all vector, so I'm not entirely sure. There's different ways to create this sort of thing. You can illustrate it from scratch. You can grab different icons and vectors from stock websites and then put them together and build your own bits and pieces. You can get the entire poster template from many sites as well, and then just go in and change your information. So I'm not entirely sure how this one was made. I'm going to get rid of the one on the right because I think they're identical apart from the white slay change, which is kind of negligible really. So let's just get rid of that one. And we'll stick with this one, and we're just going to go through and look at what is and isn't working. So something I do like about this is I like the concept of the illustration where it's not necessarily using any photos or imagery, which sometimes you can't if it's like a Christmas party for something. So the illustrative style, it's clean, it's simple. I like the use of gradients for, I guess like the snowflakes coming down. It's quite a nice sort of style. It's got a clean, simple color palette, so it has like a clear visual identity, which is nice. And the hierarchy is like, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously this isn't real information, but sometimes it doesn't always have to just go big title, smaller title, text. So I think if this were a real party and there was, you know, maybe some contact information down there, it does make sense. You know, I can clearly go, oh, Merry Christmas. Yeah, there's the date. There's the time. Should you put the date and the time together? Yeah, you probably could. That would make sense. But it's not the end of the world because both of those things are big and bold. Personally, I would always put them together. The date, the time, anything related to date and time. And then the same as you'd put like location. If you have driving directions, location, contact information, I would put that together as well. So I suppose there is a little bit of work you could do on the hierarchy there. Oh, hello, Poppy. You could say it's a little bit clip arty. That's a fair comment. A bit maybe too simple. It depends on the style. What I would love with something like this is to have this sort of simple geometry, but actually introduce some gradients into a few bits. So maybe certain parts of the sleigh use that same color, but then they just graduate to a lighter color. So you're mixing solids and gradients, stuff like that. That could be quite cool. Or you could do the whole thing with gradients. Definitely need to switch up the colors. The downside as well with this snowball thing, if it is meant to be snowballs, is this looks like cheese now. And I can't unsee cheese. But if we were going to change the colors, so it's less Halloween-y, the moon would probably change to white. And I was just going to say, I don't think there is any white cheese, but of course goat cheese is white. Of course there's white cheese, Dan. What are you talking about? Christmas bats. Yeah, these are the bats that got left behind and the sleigh going past frightened them. And they all, you know, like a flock of birds flew off into the sky at the same time. I do like this sort of style as well. The kind of the voucher cutout, like a sort of coupon style. But again, it just feels weird on its own. I think you could have the date and the time here together on a coupon. That would be cool. So, you know, extend this box, add the date there, and then have the cutout and just turn it into like a little coupon. Almost like this is your ticket. Here's the date and time. Here's your ticket kind of thing. Or you could turn the entire graphic into one big ticket and style it like that. That would be another way of going about it. But so in terms of things that I don't like or that I would change, If you are going to go the coupon route, don't round off one corner. It just feels a bit weird and unbalanced. And I mean, you could have the cutout there and the hole punch. I would just mirror that on that side. Have the dashed border as a rectangle. And then make sure the text inside is centered. So on the left and on the right, make sure that spacing's balanced. It's slightly off, and then top and bottom. Just make sure if you've got text in a container, the text is vertically and horizontally centered. Unless there is a reason to have it deliberately off. Right, something else. The font here, what do we got? I don't even know what font this is. Pop-ups, reading. No, I don't want to read. Stop forcing me to read. Okay. I don't know what font it is. And oh, now it's changed. And I can't get it back. What's happened over here? What's happened? What have I done? Oh no. What I've done. Da, 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 da. Right, let's just open the file up again and pretend that never happened. What font is that? Oh, too many words. I'm not a fan of words. Words and thinking. Way too much. Anyway, right, let's just not select the text and we'll leave that alone. So the text at the minute is tracked a little bit close together. So you can see parts of the R kind of crashing into the I here. So I would probably space it apart a little bit. I think that font could work. It's trying to like imagine it as a less Halloween design and as more of a Christmas design. So you can get like quite nice pairings like this where you have the Merry written in more of a kind of script style font, a bit more fancy, maybe even handwritten, and then it overlaps the lettering. I'm a bit conflicted on letters crashing into each other. I personally don't like it, but with something like this, what I would do is find a really nice position where you could deliberately loop this around. So then could I use, I mean, I'm scared to touch this font now. I'm going to convert it actually. I'm going to convert it just so I don't break the world. So we'll convert that as well, just to avoid problems. So we could use the intertwine feature and do something like that. So if you have letters that are going to collide with each other, just make it feel intentional. Maybe it's a personal thing. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe you like letters just overlapping and that's fine. But for me, when you got big swooshy letters and they just crash into other letters, especially if they're the same color, I mean, my goodness, that's like a cardinal sin. Please don't do that, especially for logo design. But for me, like that feels intentional. Like it wants to give it a big hug, and that's nice. Everyone likes hugs. So that's not true, actually. Not everyone likes hugs at all. I love a good hug. If you ever see me in the street, just come and give me a big hug. It's absolutely fine. Just maybe not from behind. That might freak me out a little bit. Anyway, swiftly moving on. This text here, I'm not entirely sure what the cutout thing is, but if that's part of the design, you know, so be it. But just make sure this is central again. At the moment, again, it's sitting too high. So we just want to bring that down. And breathing space as well. This text here is sort of quite close to it. So I would just try and bring it down a little bit. I think this design has a bit more of a, I don't know how you'd say it, less like precise, perfect style to it. Like this bit here isn't a perfect rectangle. And that's fine. Sometimes kind of having parts of a design, you know, kind of not conforming to horizontal and vertical axes is intentional, and that's totally okay. Let's just get rid of the bats because that's obviously, I'm not going to work on this too much. Or maybe we could do this on a stream, redesign this one, I don't know. But also the dots, do we need the dots? Do they really add anything? Sometimes less can be more, and if you take out the bits that are just incidental that don't need to be there, things can look a bit cleaner. This bit as well here, the title, a bit close to the moon cheese, so I would probably just move it up. Again, we're just thinking about a bit of space between the elements. And obviously make sure the title as a whole is central on the page as well. And at the moment, the reindeer, I think this does look cool, but at the moment the head looks like a dog. It looks far too much like a dog. I think because the antlers are disconnected as well. So that is obviously the style, having almost like a stencil style, which is fine. But I don't know if maybe having the antlers connected to the head, or definitely adjusting the head shape, will make it look more reindeer and less like a dog. It's like a rain dog at the minute. And so I think just if you are creating this sort of thing from scratch, grab a side profile of a reindeer and just trace over it. That's the best way you can get like a simplified silhouette version of a reindeer. Yeah, as a whole, apart from the sleigh being backwards, I think it looks cute. Santa's not on it, but you know, I think it keeps the design minimal and I think for, I mean, this, I'm just sort of splitting hairs really here, but I'm just sort of, as I'm looking at this, more's coming into my head. Again, you see here we've got these straight lines. They feel a bit awkward and everything. I would just look at the existing shape here, which is lovely that it's got all the same sort of gaps between the elements. I would just use this curve, existing curve here, to draw a line and make it flow. So we'll try and make it flow like that. Just so it's kind of less sort of straight and then changing angles, and it just kind of, or have it completely straight all the way through. And then we could just try. Yeah. Oh, whoops, we've gone the wrong way. Let's go up. Obviously, do the gap properly. And then you can kind of almost like freehand it into, I mean, it does kind of look like it's coming out of his backside a bit, so I don't know. Oh no, what's that film? Like the humans. I've not seen it. I don't want to watch it. Human Centipede. Oh no, I've heard about it. I think Poppy's seen it. I don't even want to watch that. Anyway, swiftly moving on. um Actually no, I think that's it. I don't think there is any moving on. I think that is pretty much it. So yeah, to summarize, um if not using different fonts, just make the connection between the Merry and the Christmas intentional. Maybe put the date with the time, turn them into a coupon, keep the style of the coupon on the left and right consistent if you want to go for like a more traditional coupon. Rounded corner feels weird on one side. I don't know why that's there. So maybe just make it all consistent, unless you wanted to round off one corner of the coupon. Definitely change the colors, which will then solve the moon cheese problem. The sleigh is backwards. Adjust the reins a little bit. Make the reindeer look less like a dog and a little bit more, just the head in particular, more like a reindeer. So maybe a few tweaks to the shape here. Possibly the rounded head might be doing it. Connect the antlers. Try that. So you still keep the stencil bit down here, but these are connected, so it's going to help sell the idea that it's a reindeer. And yeah, just add in some real copy and make it feel like it has a real purpose. At the minute, it feels like it's advertising Christmas. Whereas what I would do is I would take this flyer and make it look like a local company have held a Christmas party or something. And then when you have a brief and a clear direction of it, even if it's fictional and for fun, it helps inform design decisions a bit more, because we're not just creating a pretty thing with no purpose. You know, we're actually trying to create a pretty thing that solves a particular problem. And that is what design is all about. It's problem solving, right? So when you do come up with a fictional brief, it does make the decision making part of the process easier, because at least you've got something there to measure against. Is it fulfilling these things that I've set out in my own brief, versus, oh, I like that color, or that looks nice, which doesn't really, you know, there's no real problem there that you're trying to solve. Something else I was also trying to do is, if I can, you could also have the reindeer doing this, coming outside of the moon. just so it looks, it can kind of help sell that depth a bit more, having certain elements look like they're in front of and behind. So it throws off the central alignment a bit, but if you could find a nice balance there, I don't know, just a kind of optional thing. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this design. Yes, Kea. Yeah, exactly. A snowflake. That's a really good point, Paul. Yeah, snowflakes instead of the balls. That makes more sense. Snowflakes are pretty easy to make as well, actually. So he says, I'm gonna botch it up now. There's loads of different style of snowflake. But if we go off on another tangent, that's way too thick. So with a snowflake, you only really have to design kind of one piece. So we'll do that, move it up, scale tool to shrink it and maintain that central point. Select these two, reflect tool like we did earlier, flip it, round off the corners because it just makes it, and the cap just makes it a bit more fun and cutesy. R for the rotate tool, alter option and click, just like the reflect tool, because then it brings up the window and we can type in 360 divided by 6. Copy, Command or Control D to repeat. And there we go, we've got a snowflake. And it's all still done as a stroke. So you can adjust the width, you can chunk it up, and that flexibility is amazing. And you could then go and add this into your design, but something else we can also do is we could save it as a symbol, and these are effectively reusable assets. So we'll call it snowflake. So I can then go and make loads of snowflakes, dot them around the design. I can scale them, there we go. So we can adjust the scale. And then if I double click to go inside and think, oh, actually, I want to change this, and go, haha, there we go, I've broken my snowflake. All of them get updated. So if you've got loads of snowflakes, it does kind of make sense to, this is like the smart way of doing it. But also if you want to have something more illustrative, you do have, this is a tool I rarely use, you do have loads of symbol tools. Now I never really use these because I don't do sort of that kind of illustrative stuff anymore. But I can pick a symbol and then spray it on the design. So if I double click on this, you get lots of options. So intensity, let's drop that down, and we'll drop this down a bit as well. So you could, yeah, so it just kind of spaces them apart a bit more. So let's get rid of these ones. And then, I mean, personally, I would position them manually. I would just drag with Alt or Option and position them manually. But if you do have lots, like particle effects and loads of things, this can be quite cool because you can hold. Actually, no, this can be quite a cool way of doing it because you can click and hold and it'll make it bigger, and then hold Alt or Option and click and it'll make it smaller. So this could be quite a cool way to quickly add lots of particles to a scene. We've got the spinner, so we can rotate them. I feel like this tool's had a bit of a boost as well. I don't know. Maybe I've just not used it for a long time. But it feels a bit faster and more efficient. I don't know. And because these are all still working from that same symbol, I can still go and edit that symbol at any point and all of these get updated. So it is really, really handy in that regard. So I can just drag a copy here, select it. Let's say I want a chunky snowflake. Now they all chunk up. So I don't really use that feature, but it's very useful if you've got particles or snowflakes. So yeah, you could turn this layer around. You're right. Yeah, we could just turn it around. Yeah, maybe you don't need reins. Human rain seed. Oh no. Are you a freelancer or an employee? I don't know what I am anymore. I'm a teacher. I do still work on the odd freelance project every now and then, but like I think 90% of what I do is around design, education, teaching. But I still work on the odd project because I love mostly logos because I love it. It's nice to have a real project to kind of get stuck into. Agree on the fictional brief? Yeah, I think it just makes it easier because otherwise, if you don't really have a brief to work against, even if it's a made up one, like you end up adding like lorem ipsum text. Why is it? What's this text for? I don't really know, and it's so much harder because like you don't know where. It's like trying to throw a dart at a dartboard, but you don't know where the dartboard is. It's like, did I meet the brief? I made a poster and it looks nice. So it just kind of it does make the process a bit easier because, like I say, you've got something to benchmark against as you're working on it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah. Color alone will change a lot. Yeah, when I first looked at it, I was like, something feels off. Oh wait, there's bats and it's purple and the moon's yellow. This feels like Halloween. Right, cool. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you very much for submitting that in. Submitting that in. That doesn't make any sense. Sending that in. Goodness me, Dan. Right, rocket clouds. I'm not doing too well on the fonts today, am I? So this one here, this is more of like a technical exercise. So I'm not entirely sure what this is for. I think there's a couple of different ones here, and is this a photo or that looks like a sofa? So maybe this is like the real one and they're sort of recreating their own version. There's a coffee one as well. So what I'm going to do here is focus on this, but more so the neon effect. Because if this is meant to be like a neon sign for like a bar or like a neon product that sits above a sofa or whatever on a wall, like I think it's fine. That sort of font style and the illustrative style is very like they work well together. And this is very common for like neon signs as well. But the neon is what I think needs a little bit of work. So what I need for this really is this version. I need a mix. No, I need to mix two different versions because I want the stroke to be editable. So I need the hat up here that's got all the line work. And then this version over here that's got the line work of the lettering, which is really good. And how's that all positioned? Ah, there we go. Little loop. Nice. I like it. Don't know if that's possible as a product, but as a graphic, yeah. So a case in point of what I was saying before, it kind of solves the problem of the loop. But I think what I'm going to do is have it. Yeah, we'll have it separate and we'll ignore the outline around the edge. I don't really know what that is. Right. So yeah, we have that neon one over there. And what I'm going to do is go and recreate this over here. I'm going to make a new artboard, I think, just so I can snap to the screen. And this dark background is fine. We'll chuck that as well on there. It's just a rectangle, and you can just make it fill the entire artboard like so. And then we can lock it with Command or Control 2. And then this is my version that I'm going to use here. Pop it in the middle. Bosh. We could actually make this bigger as well, just so we can kind of see it a bit easier. And the important thing here is that we've got the line work. So this isn't a shape with a fill. There's different ways. I mean, you can still do it, but it's just easier when you've got the line work. Especially if it's an editable font as well, because if you're doing this with a font, you can then change the font, which is pretty cool. So I don't... Oh, actually, no, I should do it with the font, shouldn't I? I should do it with the font. What was the font? Cloud Rocket. Let me see if I can grab it. Because then I can show you the editable aspect of it. All right, let's just quickly download it and install it. Where can I learn Illustrator 2026? I mean, I have a course that teaches Illustrator. It hasn't got the 2026 lessons added yet, so I am going to be adding those. But to be honest, there's not like a massive difference between that and 2025. There are like a few new features, but the actual interface and pretty much, most of it is still the same. Um, but yeah, Dansky.com. I've got 2 courses for no Dansky.com. I've got the course for Illustrator now. It's all just one big course, and it covers the beginner level stuff in first class, and then it goes through to the master class that covers all the advanced stuff as well. So it's just kind of like going from a beginner to learning everything that I know about Illustrator in one complete course. What was I doing? I've totally forgot what I was doing. Brain, where have you gone? Font, yes, there we go. Right. Got distracted by my own segue there. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. Not just because it's my own course. Like, I would recommend any course where you can just learn Illustrator with a structured program. You'll learn it as quick as possible, and then just pick one where you have the instructor who is there to help. So I'm always there to help. If you know another course on a platform, just check reviews, get one where the instructor is like present and does reply to questions and things, because then when you get stuck, you've got someone to help out, basically. Right. I got rid of the text, didn't I? Because I am a turkey. Let's see if I can grab it. I'll copy this file. There we go. There, Rocket Clouds demo. Right. Oh, what the? What? What just happened there? Did you see that? Pasted it in and it's... Oh no. What? I don't know what that is. Okay. That's weird. I want to use an editable font just because I think it's cool to show how this can be applied to text and then have it still be editable. So let's just find a similar font. It doesn't really matter. The goal of this is to make the neon effect that can then be taken and copy and pasted. So let's just find something sort of similar. Oh, that could work. Michigan signature. That's quite nice, actually. Actually, no. Forget this. Forget this. This is just going to waste time. I think what we'll stick with this. If you create it on live text, it keeps the text editable. Just trust me, bro. On that, we'll leave that there. I think let's just work with this because this is all a stroke at the minute. Creating neon for a shape with a fill and a stroke is slightly different. So I think I've just hit a bad font. So I'm just going to reboot Illustrator a sec. Let's open it back up again. Yeah, so we're having both elements created with lines and strokes. It just makes it easier. She has arrived. Oh, thank you, Andrea. Okay. Oh, are you serious? It didn't save my flipping thing. Did I not save it? Oh my goodness. Right. Bear with.
You can record it.
Trying to, yeah. Hang on. I'm getting muddled now. Right, there we go. No, it did save it. I just deleted the wrong file. Whoopsie doopsie. There we go. Right. Okay, reset. Everything is a stroke. So we'll start with the pink first of all. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to set this up as a swatch first, actually. So FFOOFF, we'll just make sure that is a global swatch. We'll do the same for the blue as well. And what we'll do is move this up out of the way. And what's the weight here? The weight is 3. Okay, so we'll try and stick to whole numbers. So what we're going to do is for the center of the neon, we're going to make it really thin. And we'll set the color for this to white or a very, very light pink, but I would probably stick with white. And we need to set this up in the appearance panel. So set the color to none, add your strokes from here. Or if you're doing this with shapes with a fill, add a fill color. So we've got white and yeah, there we go. Let's go with that. Then we're going to duplicate that. And these work kind of like layers. So whatever's on top will be above whatever's below. So now we're going to go and pick that global swatch we made, which is here. And if we increase this, you can see it appears around the outside. So you can work with like a mathematical system for this. So you multiply it by 3, but I'm just going to sort of make it up. So we'll make this one a bit bigger. But before we start going any further, we need to start adding some blur. So I think the first one, we're going to add a blur to that. And just save your document before you do this, because it can, depending on your design, get quite intensive. Please don't crash. Well, that's a first. There's no blur. Can't see the blur. How bizarre. Okay, let's try and put another effect on there. Yeah, the offset's working. But the blur is not. Oh, hang on. Maybe it's because this is so small.
It's very dark over here.
Ah, there we go. Yeah. Okay, if you do get it where the blur isn't showing, sometimes resizing it, I've had this before, sometimes resizing it just gives it a jog and then it remembers it should be there. It seems to be misbehaving though. There we go. All right, let's try that. So we'll save as we go. So we've got a little bit of blur there. You kind of want this to be really subtle as well. Let's drop the blur down as well. Maybe we'll try 10. It does evoke that vibe a little bit. Yeah, Roadhouse. I don't know, was that pink and blue? Yeah, it's a bit too much blur on there, I think. So we start typically with a really small value. Yeah, there we go. So really, really subtle. And then for this one, the next stroke down, we're going to go and add a blur. And we should probably turn it back on first. And there's a mistake that I always do with this. I always forget. If you like deselect this, you can see the values still show here and you'll start changing them and nothing happens. So what you can do is just make sure you've definitely got the thing selected before you change stuff. So let's go and bump the blur up. So for the next one, we'll go for like 10. I don't know. Depending on the size of your thing, these values will be completely different, but the way you kind of count up will be pretty similar. So we'll drop the stroke down a bit. Yeah, there we go. That's good. And then the next one, let's go for 30. And then we can go and add a blur to this as well. So we're just gradually increasing the blur and the stroke value. Let's bump it up a bit more. Yeah, you can see it's taken a few seconds as it's got to re-render the blur every go. So just save as you go. It depends on your computer and the amount of geometry you've got as well. I think mine's going to be a little bit slower because I'm streaming as well. So oh, I've not turned the flipping thing on. Girl, you need to bump that up. No, I need to turn it on. It's completely hidden. I am a turkey. I was like, why is nothing changing? There we go. That is the good thing about this panel, the appearance panel. You can just turn effects off and on. Whoops. Oopsie doopsie. Let's drop that value down again. So yeah, depending on the style you're going for and the size of your graphics, these values will completely change. In fact, what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to bump the blur up, but drop the stroke weight down. What that's going to do is just make it feel less intense around here and just give it a softer graduation. So if we go for 10, just like the other one, but the blur is increased on this, it should. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Oh, that's nice. And we'll duplicate this again. Now, what I would try and do with this is, because we're stacking multiple blurs on a single object, as you can see, it's getting a little bit demanding, but the fewer blurs you have, the easier it's going to be to work with. So I think if we can do this in just a few steps, it's going to make working with this file a bit easier. If we did it in 10, which we could do, it's not really gonna, we don't really gain anything, and it's just gonna make the whole thing very, like, the effect bloated. So let's crank this up to 70. This is going to be like a really nice big blur. Dan, I'm old school. Is creating the appearance palette the way to go? Yeah, 100%. And to be honest, I didn't use this for years. I did not use this for years. I would just use the path offset from up here, and sometimes that's fine, but like I would just create all my effects from scratch with no flexibility to edit the text or the effect itself. And then it was probably more, I think it's as I've got into teaching more, and obviously when you're doing tutorials and courses, you need to know what you're talking about, so you then dig into the software more. And then it was kind of like, oh yeah, whoops, I should have been using this, just because it gives you not only access to, I mean, you can access these anyway, like up here, but especially if you're working with live text and text effects, it lets you change the font. Which is pretty handy. It gives you just full access to customize the properties at any time. So if you're working on like a nightclub poster design with neon, and the client says, "Ah, yeah, we've changed the date from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Could you update that?" Well, if you spent ages creating this effect and it's not like live and editable, then you've got to kind of recreate it. It's just a pain in the bum. So, hey, Gary. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, keeping things non-destructive is always good if you can do it, because it just gives more flexibility, and you know, a lot of times there's not a downside. Right. For this last one, I'm gonna boost it up. I want it to just blast out a lot more. I think I've been a bit too conservative with my values there. So I'm gonna crank up the stroke, which I think I'm gonna regret actually. Makes it more intense and occupy more space, but now I'm gonna absolutely smash the blur through the roof. And pray that I don't break the file. Oh, thank you guys. That's meant to be a heart. Hopefully you can see the heart. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Look at that. Right, save. Save the file, Dan. It's taken its time. Phew, there we go. That took a while then. I think. Oh my goodness. God, it doesn't like this, does it? Is there anything else in the file that could be slowing it down? I don't think so. Maybe it's just the fact I'm streaming at the same time that it's. I think that's what it could be. I think because it might be using the GPU for these effects, and I'm streaming at the same time, and my computer's going, "Nah, stop, please." But we could. Let's just try turning off this intermediate one, and see if we still get a nice blur. It'll just make everything less demanding. Oh, hang on, no, no, no. I know what it is. I know what it is. Yeah, I'm working at 300 resolution. Oh, you idiot, Dan. That should make it easier. Yeah. So obviously you see the resolution here is not great. These are raster effects, so these aren't vector. So the blur is not a vector effect. But you can get away with it and scale it. So I would, yeah, work at 72 DPI. Let's try this again. See if it's quicker. Yeah, flipping heck, Dan, you turnip. You flipping turnip, Dan. So yeah, work at 72 DPI because it's faster. Then when you're ready for final output, crank it up, or if you just need to check something. Or work at medium if you want. But the lower you drop the resolution, the less demanding it's going to be. It's the same for when you do 3D with the ray tracing stuff in Illustrator. Keep the DPI low as you're working on it, and it will just be faster. Yeah, super fast, isn't it? That would be great, creating a neon sign, buzzing sound with some flickering. Yeah, Greg, that's what I did for the intro. So I typically create my neon in Photoshop because it's raster based and I get like just a better, more realistic end result. But if I was working in Illustrator and I needed neon, at least you can do it in Illustrator. But if I just play the outro, this is exactly what I did. So I had this is an old shot of my desk, and then I created the neon text and then added loads of particles and flickers and music and sound effects. I'll just show you really quickly. And then obviously like in the photo where you've got the desk and the microphone, I then had to Photoshop into that highlights and glow as if the neon text was real, casting light. But yeah, it turned out all right actually in the end. It was pretty good. Okay, so let's say we've got the best neon text effect in the world. We've saved our file. We can then go and save that as a graphic style. So now what we can do is we can just select this, click on this, boom, it's neon. Slightly different there because, well, oh, is it because there's already a thing on it? Oh, what have we got? Double stroke going on. Let's try it again. We'll remove that one. There we go. All right, so just make sure you remove any existing strokes before you add the graphic style, and then it populates all of this. And then all we've got to do now is just switch out the color. Or you can, as you can see, mix two colors together. And once you've got that graphic style saved in your document, I think you can yeah, you could save it as a library as well, and then you can open that library. So if you have a library of all of your custom graphic styles that save you tons of time, just save it and then open it for a new project, and there you go. All of that's fully editable. And if you did apply that to some live text, it's a bit different because it's a stroke. So you want to apply your thingy doodahs as a fill. But let's try it anyway. So if we grab this, where's my text gone? Oh yeah, we'll grab that and we'll apply it. Yeah, there we go. So it does work. It just, if you do it as a stroke, it's going to give it that stroked neon, which actually looks pretty good, to be fair, actually. That does look all right. So what was it? Cafe. I've obviously missed the accent off. Da-da. And then the font was something to do with the rocket. Heavy rocket. I've forgotten what it was. Rocket. Rocket clouds. So yeah, doing it as a stroke, you kind of get the what's it called? The double outline thing going on, and then obviously you've got other issues like this to contend with. So that does look pretty cool, actually. I mean, can we convert that to outlines and then unite it and then apply the effect again? That is what should be one way that we can, yeah, get around kind of the individual letters having their joins. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to keep the double stroke. I kind of like it. It's growing on me. Obviously, it's slightly different to the hat now, but it's fine. So if we just quickly grab all this other stuff, and actually, no, we'll grab the original. I always like doing a before and after comparison at the end, just to kind of see how it looks. So we'll plonk all of this on there, and then what do we got? We'll go with the double stroke version with the hat. There we go. Yeah, we'll try and keep it centered, but not too close, not too far away. Shrink it down a bit. And obviously just check up here that you've got scale, strokes, and effects as well, if you want to, when you're scaling something up or down, because then those blur effects scale as well. If you don't, then the values will stay the same. So your letters will get, or your lines will get bigger, your object will get bigger, but the blur effect will be really, really tiny. Yeah, so you see the difference. We've sort of gone from something that doesn't use blur and is solid, which looks fine, probably more so at a distance, and then you just get a bit more of a neon, a proper kind of neon effect there with the glow. And I probably might even add another one, or something else you can do is, if I just show you, yeah, you see here this one does extend quite far out, so I probably would add another layer that, you know, I mean, let's just do it. Show, don't tell. Let's just add another one and go for like 100, but make the stroke weight a lot smaller. Do you see what I mean? So it just kind of blasts out quite far. 200. Yeah, honestly, it's worth fiddling around with. Or you can even add like a shape behind. So we'll go with a pink solid. We will select the fill, add a gradient. So default black to white. We'll pick the black color, no, sorry, the white color as the pink. This is going to be the same as the background color. Set the gradient to radial. Aspect ratio, we'll squish it down. And then we can move this. Whoops. Let's move this behind. There we go. Set the blending mode to screen. No. Lighten. There we go. And in the middle, we're just going to dial down the opacity of that pink. So it's like real subtle, more subtle. Have the black set to 0. Even having something that goes to white at 0% and black at 0%, like they do look different. So I would always, even though you have a dark color selected and 0 opacity, just do them both. And then we should be able to adjust this. And then we can kind of control the intensity of the blur. So you can see it just adds like a whole blur around the shape, which can be quite useful if you're going to add this onto like a background or a texture or something. I mean, you could even try and be really clever and add the fill into here. And then what you can do is convert this to an ellipse, make it relative, which means it will change size depending on the shape of the object it's attached to. And then what we need to do is we just need to save this gradient here. So we'll give it a name if you want to. And then for that color, we'll change the gradient to that. And then we just have to go and adjust. Yeah, just adjust the vertical properties. There we go. So then that extra fill blur gradient in the background is now attached to the object itself. So if this were live text, in fact, I need to test this now, because I want to see if this works. Text. I need editable text. Oh my goodness. Cats galore. So this should, yeah, look at that. So as you increase the letters, that rounded rectangle is extending, or if I delete them, shortening. Oh, I feel so clever right now. I feel so goddamn clever. Yeah, I've not actually done that before. Attached the thing to it. Yeah, I mean, obviously I've made this really small now, so nothing really works at that size. But yeah, it's kind of a smarter way of working, because then you just have full flexibility and you don't have to, you know, once you know about working with the appearance panel and how to use it, more time, it's just kind of a no-brainer. Like, why would you not do it that way, you know? Because then you just have the option to edit everything from that single panel, rather than having to recreate any effects from scratch. So yeah, you can spend ages. I think on the last stream I showed you my lightning effects that I've done with it, some crazy lightning effects in Illustrator. And then you can save. So if you spend ages curating the best text effect possible, I'll show you. Save it, because then you can reuse it and you never have to make it again. Yeah, like this. This is a bit more advanced. There's obviously a lot going on there. But all it is strokes with different effects applied, and you just build it up layer by layer. And yeah, you can still change the font. So if we went and picked, I don't know, Baskerville, hopefully it doesn't break. Oh, is it 300 DPI or PPI? Yeah. So it just saves you so much time and gives you all of the flexibility in the world, mate. Anyway, right. Thank you for sending that in. Neon.
Dan,
Yes, hello.
it's 4:45.
Goodness me.
We're not going to have time to watch Thingy.
We're going to start. Actually, what time is...
Can I turn this lamp on?
No!
Please. I don't like being in the dark. I feel like a squirrel. I don't know why I feel like a squirrel.
Are squirrels nocturnal? Do they come out in the dark, or... I don't really know.
Oh, who knows?
Okay. Okay, Tim's come around at 6:30.
Damn.
6:30. Got a mandate with my boy Tim. Gonna go and get some food. We're going to the farmhouse.
You're going to have a salad and or a steak?
A salad, yes. Do you know where those vouchers are?
Oh. No.
Because you said earlier, he was like, oh, we should use those vouchers. And I was like, hope you're not expecting me to know where those vouchers are. He was like, no, I recycled mine.
I think I might have chucked them.
Ah, we've both chucked them.
Yeah.
God, full price it is then. Bunch of turnips. I mean, I don't know if they were more Christmas vouchers anyway. I don't. They seemed Christmassy.
Yeah.
Never mind. Right. We've got one more. You beautiful bunch.
Make it quick.
Sorry, what was that?
Better make it quick.
I can hear a cat. Where's the cat?
Just put them outside.
Is that Crumble?
Yeah.
Oh, he needs to come in. He needs cuddles. Okay, right. So we have some brand guidelines for slick racing graphics by the designer Dylan Baldwin. There's some other graphics that I'll whip up. Actually, no, I'll whip these up now. And I think I'm guessing this is like a motorsport thing in the US, maybe. I've never seen these before. They look absolutely wild. So if I just go through these, yeah, I mean, what have you ever seen anything like this before, Pops? What the hell is this? Like it just looks crazy. I mean, the videos, I saw the videos in the Discord and it just looks flipping fun. Yeah, like what is this massive? I don't know what this massive bit for. Is that for? Is that like for sponsor stuff? Like, I've never seen them before, Raquel. Yeah, honestly, watch the video in the Discord because it's in the design review bit. When they posted this, they posted a bunch of videos of someone in the driver's seat driving, and it just looks flippin' fun. Catapult to yeet things, maybe. Airfoil for mud track. Christopher sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Personally, I'm going to go with catapult. I mean, this looks like a dairy brand, like they're being promoted there as well. So I don't know, maybe they do like ice cream or something. You could load them up and just like, fling the catapult and fling ice cream at people. No, probably not. It's just stupid, Dan. But anyway, that is the car. So here is some design work, and it's slick race graphics. So this is the brand guidelines thing we'll get into in a minute. And this, I mean, first of all, this is just flipping cool. This is cool. The whole thing is cool, but this is like a really nice presentation here where you've got this, the branding, clear color palette, blue, red, white, and black. I mean, the whole thing, as you'll see when we get into it, looks very racing-y. Like you can tell just by the way it's designed, the font choice, the angles, all that sort of stuff. And I mean, I'm guessing this is something different. I don't know if this was part of the project or a logo that they produced, or if, I mean, I do like it. You got a little cow on the heart. Very good. But yeah, this is like a really cool presentation of these vehicles and these exhibition stands. Yeah, it's a really good showcase, so you can see how everything that we're going to look at in a minute actually looks when it's kind of mocked up and presented. You like the catapult as well? Yeah. Right, so what else have we got? So that's the photo. We've looked at that. Yeah, getting more photos. So cool. We've got some t-shirts here as well. I don't know why it's orange all of a sudden. Like, I thought it was red, but maybe there is a reason. This looks like a different car to the other one, so maybe the red was more for the other car. I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, design-wise, it looks flipping cool. That's just so cool. So yeah, I'm guessing that's for Colby Weaver. I don't know what 5W is, but then I'm clearly very ignorant to this sport or this type of racing. So design wise, it just, yeah, it's a great t-shirt design. I just love the kind of sort of messy grunge style, almost like dirt from the track. You've got some actual dirt under it there. You've got the sponsors. It's like a grungy mix. The sort of multi-stroke style text. And the colors just reflect that of the car as well, or the vehicle, or whatever the flipping whatever it's called. I don't know. You want a car like this, Raquel? Just imagine you driving around Portugal in one of these. Beep beep. Had to do a Google search. It's definitely a funny car. It's not called a funny car though, is it? Like, what type of car is this? Funny car. Like, it must have an actual name. Maybe I'll throw it in ChatGPT later. And... Well, yeah, obviously it's a racing car, but what type of racing car? Do you know, like, you got like an, you know, F1, Formula One? You know, they have a name. No, it can't be called funny car. I refuse to accept that. You've got to be trolling. I used to be very gullible as a kid, and I believed everything. No, I'm not. So I'm gonna call bullshit on that. It's called Karski, yeah. Obviously, you're right. It's a Karski car, obviously. Well, I don't know. This one, when I watched the videos, it didn't look like a drag race. It looked like, I mean, drag racing's like straight, isn't it? Whereas this looked like it was actually going around a track with lots of twists and curves and things. NHRA funny car. Go on then. I'll buy it. NHRA funny car. An NHRA car is a high performance drag racing vehicle. Yeah, the video I saw wasn't drag racing. I don't think, anyway. What is raised in the rear, exposing the frame, engine and driver? That's crazy. So NHRA, yeah, that okay, so that's a type of car. Funny car. Oh, hello, Crumble. Come on then. Do you want to come and see the funny car? There's loads of them. Not quite like the ones that we're looking at, though. Oh my goodness. Flipping heck. That's not a good day. That's a bad day at work, that is. Yeah, nothing like the one we're looking at, though. Which is bizarre. All right, come on then. Want a couple? It's got to be now before we get into the last one.
This was the last one.
Yes, this is the last one. I know. I know. I know. The baby's arrived. He's arrived. He's cooing like a little pigeon. Let's see, you sniff the microphone. I know. You're such a donut, aren't you? Right. Let's see if we can do this one-handed. So these are the brand guidelines. So you can see here, even the font choice is very like dynamic, forward facing, that like sort of slanted, kind of like it feels like there's movement. So this sort of any sort of sports really, or if you want to convey speed in graphic design or logo design, using italics and this sort of modern type of font is quite often a good shout. We've got these other incidental details that are part of the logo as well. This kind of connected line with little circles. And yeah, color palette seems to be red, white, and black. Contents. So these incidental details, I think I would probably have maybe 1, 2, max 3 templates in the way they're used. At the moment, it feels a bit random. So this piece here, I would get rid of that and keep it more to the sort of outer edges of the page. And remove the bullets here, the square bullets. Bullets on a centered list never really work or look great, at least in my opinion. But I like the clear sections, and you have what it is and what page to go to. There's part of me that, like, I love a good central alignment, but there's part of me that would make these lists more scannable if they were left aligned. I don't know what you think to that. I mean, they're not very long lists, so you'll probably get away with it if you didn't want to do that and it was more of a stylistic choice. But I don't know, for sort of quickly scanning a page and finding something, usually left is a bit easier. And if you use left, you could keep the bullets, but honestly, I don't think you really need it. Oh, is that nice? Loud purring, isn't it? Oh no. He's a happy boy, isn't he? He's a happy boy. He sounds like a little pigeon, doesn't he? He does. He sounds sometimes if you get him in the right spot and you can kind of rub his head in the right way, he does coo like a pigeon. Anyway, our brand. This is too big. I'm just going to say it. I'm looking at this on like a 30-inch screen, and it takes up a lot of space. So I'd probably make the page numbers a bit smaller as well. Like everything does feel quite large. It's just a little bit too big and a bit in your face. And I think one thing with italics as well, just to be careful of, is even though this might be technically centrally aligned, it still feels like the word hour is off to the right. So I would just pull it to the left a little bit, because italics can be a bit weird. Because imagine if you've got like a vertical center line when you're aligning text. As soon as you italicize it, it can throw off your alignment. So I would have like a center line, but have it at the same sort of angle. So if you have like two words like this and you centrally align them, sometimes they can just feel a bit off. So I would manually push the hour to the left a bit. And yeah, like I said with this, have just a set template. It just sort of, as we go through these, you'll see these incidentals. They're great to have, and they're part of the logo, and it makes sense to kind of pepper that through, but it just feels a bit much and a bit random. I personally stick to 2 per page max and have a few templates that you reuse, just because sometimes it gets a little bit distracting. Yeah, I mean, if you need them at all. Like, I don't want to take all the fun and creativity out of it, but... Or maybe make them smaller and less prominent. Thinner, smaller. Just so they're less of a distraction. Red border's nice. I like that. That's cool. Okay, mission statement. I can't see a mission statement. Our mission statement. So I'm guessing that's just not been added yet. Fantastic. I'm not entirely sure. Tagline: look fast, look slick. Brand assets, yeah, same again. I just make it a bit smaller. Okay, cool. Colors, primary, secondary, gradients. Slight typo there. The I and the D are the wrong way around. Nice breakdown of the colors. Something else that you could do as part of a brand guidelines document is a lot of this stuff, these colors, they're obviously there for the client or for any printers and you and reference or whatever. Like, it's good information to have on there, but it's all very design oriented. I would have a line in there about what primary colors are, secondary colors are, what they are, some example use cases, just a bit of context in there, or even if it's a title for this entire page. What the flipping? What are you doing? Look at his legs, Pops. He's just stuck his legs up in my face.
Oh.
He just stretched his legs and like wrapped his legs around my beard. Oh, they're calming down now. He's framing your face. I'm just here trying to review something, and the cat just kind of stuck his legs up. Yeah, such a donut. Anyway. Oh dear, I'm a professional, honest. I do know what I'm talking about. Idiocy aside. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like the brand guidelines document, and this is something that I do see when I review a lot of work, it's always very designer facing. And I feel like just a little bit of context to a client or someone who doesn't really understand what this page is would be really helpful. Like, obviously I look at this and go, oh yeah, I know what that is, primary, secondary gradients. But like, some clients might not even know what a gradient is in the terms that we use them and look at them. Only cats, oh my goodness, no. So yeah, the same for this. It's typography. So this is a clear showcase of the main fonts. So we got this one here and then this one. What am I looking at though? You know, like I know that this is going to be like your main fonts that you're using, but which one's primary? Is there a primary and a secondary? Two different weights. What's this? How's this different from this one? Where do you use one? Is one the main and one the... Do you know what I mean? So just a bit of context for someone who isn't a designer as to what these are, examples of where you'd use them. That would be really cool to add. Pattern, yeah, again, this is really nice. So I think the logo might come later on. So the whole line and circle thing is in the logo. And to be honest, it does make a flipping good pattern. That's my favorite. That red and black one is just, oh, chef kiss that is. I love that. So it's nice having those elements that you can weave into other parts of the brand. Yeah, that's nice. Every page should have some context to the client. You've got to put yourself in their shoes, of the people who don't know the brand like you do. Exactly. And who don't know design as well. And they don't know about, you know, color. That was a big sigh, wasn't it? It was a big sigh, as if you've gone and actually achieved anything today. What have you done apart from eat, sleep, and go out? What have you done? Nothing, because you're a lazy bastard. But I love you. Right, logos. Okay, there we go. So yeah, you got the Slick Graphics logo. You can see that sort of where that actually comes from, which is cool. And it's nice to see that sprinkled throughout everything else as well. Font, I love the font choice. Yeah, font choice for the word slick is so good. Even the angles on the S and the sort of that more italicized dynamic feeling, it feels like Slick is about to drive off. Yeah, it does it really cool. I think it'd be really, really good to show this version here looks more like a badge. I'd love to see like a version of it as well that doesn't have the black and the grey border around it. I think the grey border protruding so far out with these pointy bits is my least favorite aspect. I think if you got rid of all of that and honestly just had the white lettering, race graphics, and the red doodah at the bottom, I think that would be amazing. And then if you had like a sticker version or a graphic or a banner version that you wanted to have that round, I would have that. But keep the main logo just super clean and simple. Yeah, same for this one as well. Yeah, I mean, this is a horizontal use. I'm just trying to imagine this on a website. It's a tricky one. Yeah, so I think as well, the same feedback I had on that outer shape with the black and the grey, I think it sort of breaks apart here even more so. Like you could sort of get away with it here, but when you stretch it out, it really does create this sort of rather odd shape around everything. And I think maybe even it's quite wide, isn't it? And on a website, the slick will be very big and visible, but the race graphics text will be super tiny. Like on a website, it's going to look like this. Really, really small. So I would possibly even consider rebalancing the size so all the words are a similar size. Or to make it less horizontal, you could less horizontal but not massively vertical, you could then put race graphics underneath here. That would still work on a website, I think. Or if you needed to get more size out of the letters because it's too small, reduce the tracking and bring them closer together. So you can then increase the font size and occupy the same space. Yeah, I think this sort of outer edge does work as a cutter for like a sticker. So you could have like a sticker version. Yeah. And same feedback again here. These spiky some of the spiky bits, they just feel weird and out of place. Like it's suddenly this nice sort of edge, and then there's a big spiky protrusion. So I don't know. Maybe that just needs tweaking or something. I mean, I do. Yeah, I love the way that the S and the R and the G is like compacted with the extended S. The only thing, the only thing I don't like about the S is that it typographically now to accommodate the R and the G underneath, typographically it isn't correct. It's got this sort of this sort of weird finish up here that doesn't really work. So what I would do is I would actually, honestly, I would keep the original S. So it kind of ends around here. And then just have the R and the G fill the same height. So you literally just have the big S and then the R and the G. And that way you don't have to upset the letter form of the S. Do you know what I mean? Oh, that's the last one. Yeah. So I think really the big takeaway is there's a few comments about the design, but the big takeaway is there's a difference between presenting ideas to a client and having a style guide, which I think this is probably more of, and then a set of brand guidelines. A lot of the time, brand guidelines will typically go more in depth, and there will be more guidelines on what you should and shouldn't do. So, including like more information, So these are the primary colors. They should be used here, but not here, but blah, blah, blah. So they are effectively like guidelines, whereas in this document, there aren't actually that many guidelines. This is more of this could form part of a brand guidelines document, but I think it needs more context in the term of written information to convey those guidelines to someone, because I'm not seeing many guidelines at the minute. But what I am seeing is more of a style guide that is giving me an idea of the look and the feel and the style of the brand and the different assets and the logos. What's patter? Oh, is that meant to be pattern? Yeah. Yeah, and a few typos in there. That's not even worth thinking about. Easily fixed, and obviously a mission statement to go in there as well. But that, yeah, that would be just the main thing, is to make it more of a, either just have it as a style guide. I mean, even if you do that, you still want to include lots of information that explains it. But if you're going to have it as a brand guidelines document, I think it needs to be built out more with what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how to use things, how not to use them. Does that make sense? Does anyone else have any thoughts on this? In terms of the colors, the style, the fonts? In my honest opinion, the even space between the LI and the IC is not so optically good. Where are we looking? On the logo. The LI and IC. Is that this one or is that? Oh, sorry, I'm with you now. Yeah, on the logo. Yeah, it's a tricky one. You might be right there. Yeah, you might want to close the gap between the L and the I slightly. I don't think there's too much in it, but maybe just a pinch. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. You definitely don't want it to read as suck. Suck race graphics. Is our brand centered correctly? Let's go and have a look. Oh no, yeah, no, it's off to the left, off to the right. Yeah, so it'd need to kind of get pushed back to the left. It's a weird one. So I think, yeah, earlier I mentioned about pushing this. This one does look very, very off, but then when you use different words, like that one, because of the shape of the A, and it's angled, so it's not occupying this space, it doesn't look as off. So you might need to still shuffle it a little bit. But depending on the words, it's, yeah, italics can be flipping frustrating sometimes. It can be really frustrating. Because it depends on the shape of the letters that you end up with that can determine if things are aligned or not. This one here doesn't look as off, but I would still shift it to the left ever so slightly. But yeah, it's kind of the words and the letters that you have to work with is kind of like luck of the draw, really, as to whether it's going to work or not, you know? The icon looks like a 5. That, yeah, that's another good point, actually. Yeah, so it's clearly an S, but then when you change it, it looks like a 5. Yeah, that's a really good catch. Yeah, I would definitely keep it as the original S and then just have the RG alongside it. Oh, right, that was a good session. Oh, can I have a nap now? Actually, no, that's not true. That is not true. Oh. And then we'll be doing another stream later in the week, probably on a Wednesday. What's happening Wednesday? Anything crazy?
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Anything crazy happening on Wednesday? You tasting Wednesday?
Wednesday is a great day.
You sound like you're sucking Wednesday like a bit of spaghetti.
Yeah.
How does Wednesday taste?
No, Wednesday's good. Next Wednesday I've got my MOT.
Oh.
Wednesday's fine.
Oh crap! I need to put mine in as well.
Yeah.
Oh no. Wait, have you already booked yours in with Chicken?
No, with Dan.
Oh,
Dan. There can only be one.
Yeah, sorry, me and Poppy are just discussing life for a second. Yeah, so we'll probably do a stream on Wednesday. I've got a logo I'm going to work on that is actually something quite exciting that me and Pops are working on. So I'm probably going to kick that off because I'm itching to get started on that, which will be fun. On the 5 logo, place the R and the G in the left and right boxes that form the S. Oh, yeah, that could work. Yeah, because, I mean, this is meant to be like a, we don't have a lot of space, simplified form. So I see what you're saying. You're saying put the R and the G in there. You could do that, yeah. The only thing that would be tricky-ish is to keep the R the same. Obviously, you've got quite a slant here on the top. So where the R would sit would be flat. So you'd have to maybe just adjust the R ever so slightly so that it does kind of work with that sloping line. But yeah, apart from that, you could make that work. Oh yeah, it's good to see you, Moosh.
Moosh, moosh, moosh.
Moosh and her mittens. She said she said something about mittens earlier, which is a term that I think people use for Michigan.
Oh, really?
And she was talking about Josh and Jace and their mittens, and I thought she meant she had a pair of mittens, but apparently
Josh and Jay.
they're content creators that make stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
They wear mittens.
Well, I don't know if they wear mittens, but we had this whole conversation about Moosh and her mittens called Josh and Jason.
Kittens wear mittens.
Yeah, kittens do wear mittens. It all got very strange. Moosh Michigan mittens.
Oh, yeah.
Say that 10 times.
Moosh, Michigan.
Actually, no. Say Josh and Jace.
Josh and Jay.
Fast, really
Josh and
fast.
Jay. Josh and Jace. Josh and Jace.
It's really hard, isn't it? Josh and Jace, Josh and Jace, Josh and Jace, Josh and Jace, Josh and Jace. That is flip. That confused me. Still confused me saying it at normal speed. Exactly, just a bit, because 2 bars sticking together tend to optically tighten the space. Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be fun, Raquel. Hey Pixel. Hey Pixel. Bye Pixel. Right, we're done. We're gonna go and watch something, and then I got Matey coming around for dinner, which is gonna be lovely. And yeah, have an amazing evening and weekend. Oh, and I'll before I go, I probably should mention the courses. So I do courses for Photoshop and Illustrator. So if you are an Adobe bean like me and you want to learn either of those, I've got courses that will take you from beginner all the way through to design ninja, logo design, graphic design, photo manipulation, flipping, everything that you've ever seen me do. I teach how to do it. So weekend? What about the weekend? Isn't today Monday? Did I say weekend?
I don't know.
Oh, I've got no idea what I said. I'm going to have to watch it back. Talking rubbish. Wednesday. I meant to say Wednesday. I might have said the weekend. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, probably. But yes, there's a link if you're interested. You said have a lovely weekend. Well, clearly I've lost the plot, haven't I? Oh dear. Right, well, have a fantastic Friday, everyone. And yeah, I'll see you on Wednesday, or maybe at the weekend. I don't know. We'll see. Bye.